Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe if you are enjoying what you are hearing. Now, on to today's story. Dad cheating with coworker. Advice. I, 15F, found out my married dad is having an affair with a younger female coworker, who is also married. I had my suspicions about the pair, but it was my 12-year-old sister that discovered the incriminating messages on my dad's phone and showed them to me. I have no idea how long this has been going on between the two. They've known one another for 2 years, and I've personally known the woman for a year. We play recreational sports on weekends and she drops off homemade goods at our house. It's strange and betraying to know that the woman I initially thought was romantically involved with my dad, which I later felt foolish for thinking, is in fact in a secret relationship with him. I know it's typical for teenagers to be very upset/angry at their parents for their infidelity, and I am upset, but I can still see what drove my dad to starting this affair. Learning my dad was unfulfilled in his relationship with my mother is upsetting, and I feel genuinely bad for both people in this affair for being so unhappy before finding one another. All of this being said, I am foremost upset that my younger sister had to find out about this, and that she now has to carry the burden of his secret. I'm also upset with my father for breaking our family's tight quarantine to continue to meet with this woman. He is putting 5 other people in our household at risk, including his highly at-risk mother, and his wife, a ducking doctor. I'm asking for advice on how to proceed. I intend on confronting my dad about this, because I'm not going to keep his secret. How have others gone about confrontations? I think it would be a good idea for my siblings and I to seek therapy/counseling after this, as I believe this infidelity may hurt my younger sister and brother, as well as me. How should I suggest this to my dad? As the oldest sibling, I feel responsible for getting my sister uninvolved ASAP. I'm trying to pull together everything, so I can tell her what the plan is, how I'm going to solve this, and how she will no longer be keeping this secret. What do I tell her to help her? Any other advice for me? Dad cheating with a coworker update, secret family. Update. Original post. First of all, I appreciate everyone who commented on that first post. I appreciate the guidance and support. It's been a while since my original post. I talked to my dad about his infidelity in August 2020, and he explained the situation. He's been sleeping with his coworker since spring 2020. His coworker is not married. I was incorrect in my original post. I, 16F, told him to talk to my mom, who he's married to, about it and then discuss it with our entire family, my mother and younger siblings, 12M and F. I was planning on following up with my dad to make sure he'd actually told my mom, but I got busy with school and I didn't want to rehash it. I assumed he'd told her. Well, he never did. He told her yesterday, right before he had a family meeting with all of us to break the news, even though my sister and I knew he was cheating over 6 months ago. Well, new plot twist, he got his coworker pregnant. They're having a child together. The kid is due in May. So this has been known and kept secret for quite some time. He wants to divorce my mom and marry his co-worker. This infidelity has revealed unhealthy patterns of behavior that my dad has been using on my mother for quite some time. He has been neglecting and manipulating my mother for years to take her power away from her. He's tried to convince my siblings and I that we're happier without our mother. He's been telling our relatives that my mother terrorizes and abuses us. She doesn't, so he can have custody of us. My mom is rightfully upset, but she's expressed relief that something is finally changing in her marriage. Mom tells my siblings and I that she wants us to make the decisions that are best for us, in terms of where we live and how we navigate this new family dynamic. My mom is very level-headed and wants my siblings and I to choose our living situations for ourselves. She's trying to figure out how to explain her unhealthy marriage and my dad's manipulation to my siblings. Dad speaks strangely about his affair, calling it a net positive for the family and refusing to take responsibility for impregnating his coworker. He is continuously love-bombing me, and guilting me into telling him I love him, and telling me that the love and acceptance I give will be returned. Does anyone else find that to be an incredibly manipulative statement? He expects me to forgive him and be okay with his actions, even though he has expressed no remorse or accountability. He is spinning false narratives to my siblings as well, telling us all vastly different stories about how things transpired. I'm disturbed and upset by his pathological lies and constant manipulation. Dad's moving out over spring break, in a few weeks, to live with his new family. My parents have started the process of divorce and I'm sure there will be conflict over custody and finances. I am excited to move on with my family and my life and start therapy. I worry that my dad will continue to hurt and lie to my siblings, who are young and more forgiving of his actions. That's the short version, honestly. Any advice, sympathy, or commiseration would be appreciated. How do I help my siblings through this? Do you have any advice for coping with this crazy news? TL, Doctor, my dad has been having sex with his coworker for almost a year, and she is pregnant with his child. He has been lying to my entire family about what happened and is trying to manipulate my siblings and I into blaming our mother and forgiving him, so we will live with him and his new family. Tell your siblings what he did. Band together and tell him to get lost. That if he cared about you children he would not have cheated on your mother nor recklessly got some old woman knocked up. You don't have to be nice about it. Support your mother. She deserves better. I agree with that. I want to distance myself from my dad as much as possible. My siblings are trying to be nice like you said, and are attempting to stay neutral on the issue. They're buying the shit my dad says, and my mom telling them choose what you think is best doesn't have much power against all the lies. I can try to tell them the reality of what's happening. Yes, tell them the reality of what is going on. There is no neutrality here. Tell them what he did. And tell your mother to stop being a pushover. She deserves better. I fear for your siblings being manipulated like my dad manipulated me, and then years later regretting how they acted and what they thought, after much reflection. I hope you can make them realize what your dad did was really trashy and get your mom to stand up for herself. I know it's a hard task and it's not really your duty to do this, but if it helps anything it's worth a try. My mom has been in a bit of a slump for a while now, but has been motivated since this news to move forwards and regain some power in her life. I really hope my siblings can understand the situation. I'll try my best to speak with them and help them through this. Thank you/Xerox. Can you tell your story? What I mean is that my dad that wasn't really interested in my growth and never there when I needed him, manipulated me before a court hearing when I was conveniently visiting him the weekend before. He cried to me the whole day straight saying I will never get to see him again if I don't say I want to be with him instead of my mom, because of random bullshit reasons. So in court I said I want to live with dad and it put a huge dent in my relationship with mom who actually loved me and had me ashamed of myself to this day. I didn't even get to see my father for years after that anyway, after a few months of pretending. It was all around a shitty situation. His younger sister is the one who caught him in the first place. Reminder her of what she found. He betrayed her mother and all of you, holy hell. You may not realize it now, but you will likely have troubles with relationships due to your father's despicable behavior. I hope you keep up the therapy for a long time. It will be hard for you to hear and recognize that this is completely unhealthy behavior from your father. I encourage you to create as much distance as you can from him and love your mother as much as you can. Your father is a broken human being. And he's doing his best to continue the cycle of abuse by breaking you and your siblings. Do your best to avoid it. So much damage is already done and will take you years to overcome, if you're truly able to overcome it. Thank you. The core of this issue is my dad's refusal to change his dangerous patterns of behavior. I don't want to be anywhere around that, if I can help it. I will continue to support my siblings if they want to spend time in his new household. But I plan on telling them the truth about my dad's actions. My mom and I have a close bond, and I'm happy that she has a path for a better future now. I think therapy is going to be essential. I do not want to end up like my dad. I guess I officially qualify for daddy issues now. Recognizing it and working to realize the unhealthy behavior so you can avoid it in your personal adult relationships is the best way to end the cycle of abuse. You can't change what kind of father you have. But you can rally around the normal and minimize the damage from the abnormal. But you still need outside help to process these feelings because you lived it, and I'm sure there was damage done even before you found out the affair that might not even be recognized today. After the divorce, your mother should contact the HR department where your dad and the co-worker work. They may have violated some company policies with their affair, and that could result in one, or both, of them losing their jobs. Of course, this depends on what company they work for. Some won't care, and some will show them the door. I have no intent to damage my dad's personal life, or try to retaliate through his work. That being said, it is probably a good idea to contact his work to let them know that some of their workers are starting a family together. My mom was planning on doing this when most of everything else was finished. This needs to be your mother's decision. If your father loses his job, that affects his ability to pay your mother child support. I'm not saying which way is the right thing to do, but this decision must be made by your mother. Definitely, I could have phrased that response better. Yes, this. So much this. Your father sounds like a covert narcissist. Please advise your mother to get therapy too. She has been abused and berated and pummeled throughout her marriage. She needs to realize she is more worthy than him. However, her stand with the other children is advisable. She shouldn't be telling your siblings the real truth. You can, but they may not believe you. It is hard for younger children to view their parents in reality. He may have to be the one that they see reveal his true self, and then they will get it. Another thing we tell many here to do with WS when they are in their fog mindset: it works for all toxic people you want to distance from. Grey Rock, Google it and you will see how you can handle him. It is a great technique and you may want to let your mother know of it too. I'll do some research about narcissists, that's worth consideration. I'll talk to my mom about grey rocking as well. Thank you for the recommendations and your response. My mom's been in therapy for about a year now. She's made a lot of improvement from past trauma, and I'm glad she has that extra support from a therapist she already knows and trusts. My siblings are very emotionally mature and I think they deserve to know the truth. Of course, it will still need to be summarized to fit the understanding of a 12-year-old. I think you have a good point, that they might not believe the truth. It's upsetting to face, but that's how it is. I don't want to be complicit in hiding this from my siblings just because they might not believe it. That's too close to manipulation for me to be comfortable with. I think they deserve at least to know the inconsistencies in my dad's story and the timeline of events. I will be there to love and support my siblings regardless of their choices over this. I have been adamant about finding therapists for them, as well. That way, there is an additional party to assist them in this situation and who can monitor their health better if they do end up staying with my dad and I'm not there. Haven't decided if I want to visit his new family at all. Transparency and unconditional acceptance are what I can offer my siblings. That all is good. Just know you, your siblings and your mother don't have to let this all define you. He does him, you all do you. guarantee your mother will probably blossom more once he is gone. If your siblings fall for his crap, just love and support them. Sooner or later they will figure it all out and then need you for that support, though they may feel very duped by everything too. Be kind to yourselves. BTW, in 5 to 10 years his current family will be in the same way as yours once was with him too. I really appreciate your perspective. Thank you so much for your responses. As much as this is a strange and painful time, I am optimistic for my siblings, my mothers, and my futures. I had a daughter who I allowed to figure out her father on her own. When she did, she questioned why I had not warned her. When I asked if I had told her when she was much younger, at the time she was 15, would she have believed me? She replied, probably not, but I would have liked a warning. It can backfire on you. Just go gently there. You might want to check out Dr. Ramani and Surviving Narcissism on YouTube. Both channels offer a lot of important information on narcissism and how to deal with a narcissist, grey rock, etc. In addition to therapy, does your family have other family and friends to lean into for support? Also, is there a way to start dispelling the untrue rumors of abuse that your dad is spreading? I think it is a good idea to shore up the immediate family unit so that your younger siblings understand that this is the family unit, a safe harbor so to speak. I think that this will be ultimately healthier for your younger siblings. Your father and his new family should be viewed as a peripheral, or satellite family unit. Your siblings must be protected from your dad's manipulations at all costs. Good luck and keep us updated. I'll check it out. My dad certainly has used some of the tactics associated with covert narcissism. My mom has some friends she's talking to, and has a cousin she's very close with. My siblings and I all have friends to vent and talk to who have been very supportive. And we all have each other. I talked to my mom earlier today, and she is planning on talking to my siblings and I later this week about setting boundaries and explaining her perspective on this situation. She also wants us to all write out how we feel and what each of us kids want in terms of living situations, so we can discuss it and have it down concretely. My mom has been emphasizing the importance of us all sticking together through this and supporting one another. I completely agree with you at the end there. It's my mom, siblings and I that are in this family unit now. We were all affected by Dad's decision and need to take care of each other. When I talk later this week with them, I think we will be able to make that clearer. I definitely view my dad and his new family as a group outside of my circle now. I think my siblings have a decent understanding of this, even if they do decide to visit him. Thank you for the update. I'm so happy that your mom and family as a whole has a plan moving forward. You guys are on your way to your new normal. Your mom sounds like a very smart woman. You and your siblings are going to need at least one parent that can be relied upon. Boundaries are very, very important, especially when dealing with a narcissist. I believe it is perfectly acceptable and healthy to love someone from a distance. Your immediate family unit is the most important thing now and moving forward. Who knows what the family unit will look like in a few years? Remarriage, step-sibling, etc. again. Thank you for the reply and best of luck. Keep us updated. Thank you. Updates will come slowly as this unfolds over the next few months. You are very welcome. My sons are 12 and 14, and they completely understand stuff like this. I don't think it will be barred at all for them to see first. I'm sorry you and your family are going through this. Your father seems to only truly care for himself and his interests. First, a man will never just openly admit to cheating unless he was caught red-handed or there is something that's forcing him to admit. In this case it was the pregnancy. He's a clown, I'm sorry. Second, I think both you and your mother and whomever else you decide should have a very firm conversation with your father in regards to the lying he continues to do about your mother and to your younger siblings. Your mother is a very strong woman, I'm sure she never deserved any of it, and as weird as it may sound, she's really lucky to have the opportunity to leave. My mother is so stuck on stupid over her manipulative, cheating, pedophile of a husband. I can imagine she went on as long as she did for the love she has for her children. Now she breathes a little and relearn and fall in love with herself all over again. When it comes to court, tell your mother to keep every text message, email, social media DMs, etc. keep it all. If he was talking crazy and it's in writing, any conversation of custody of your siblings won't be hard, other than maybe sharing custody. The court may see your dad as the sick, lying, manipulative man he is, and for your safety would only allow him to be around if it's supervised. Of course, that ball is in your mother's court. I wish you and your family the very best on this new journey. In your previous post you made your mom look like a villain, now suddenly she's the victim. Not even sure if this is real, but if it is, you showed really poor judgment in keeping your mother in the dark about your dad's affair for so long and supporting your dad in his cheating. Hope you learn something from this. That's an interesting point. At the time of my first post, my mom was not living with my family, work. My dad had many opportunities to twist my views and talk poorly about my mother. There were a lot of complications at the time that allowed me to understand why my dad was cheating. He told me it was because he wasn't happy with my mom, and I believed that made it understandable. He blamed her for his infidelity, and I bought it. Since hearing my mom's interpretation of events, I have found lies and manipulation in the things I was led to believe. You're right, I shouldn't have kept my mom in the dark. I didn't realize how bad their marriage was, and I thought this was one single mistake, and that him telling her about the affair would be good for accountability and healing their marriage. I planned on checking that he told her, but I was busy with the school year and I made the mistake of trusting my dad. I seriously regret this decision now, but I thought it over very carefully at the time. I have learned a lot from this experience. Foremost, I have learned that my dad is not trustworthy or reliable. I was very susceptible to his manipulation because I trusted him to be honest with me. I know better now. Believe what you want? If that happened to me, there would not need to be a fight for my custody. I would stay with my mom. Your dad sounds abusive. Seriously? The gaslighting and love bombing and threatening covertly that love will be revoked if you don't side with him. He sounds dangerous and corrosive. Mom, you are a smart 16-year-old. Good luck. First of all, I'm so sorry you're having to deal with the breakdown of your parents' marriage, the consequences of your dad's selfish behavior, and having to shield your younger siblings at the same time. It's hard enough being a kid yourself, but then dealing with these grown-up problems that you in no way caused or contributed to is unbelievably unfair to you. You seem very mature and rational for someone in their teens. From your comments, I'm relieved that your mom is allowing you guys to discuss this openly and get a game plan. Your siblings definitely deserve the truth, but they also deserve the right to figure out what kind of relationship they want with their dad. Even if they can't or won't admit it, they are most likely scared about his disapproval and rejection. It's certainly coming. This situation is going to hurt them, but it may be better for them to figure it out on their own while you and your mom give them a soft place to land. I say this to you because I think you already know that your dad isn't acting the way a loving, healthy father or husband should. Your dad is trying to turn you and your siblings against your mom because guys like your dad are more interested in keeping up appearances than they are about being caring, nurturing parents. They tend to be more concerned about future child support payments or college tuition than being truly involved. And most importantly, they tend to play games that no one wins, especially the kids. You and your mom are doing a great job with talking about boundaries. Please keep up counseling and be kind to yourself. Thank you. Smile. Inform his work HR about the inappropriate relationship, especially if he is her manager or team leader. His house of cards will come crashing down. I agree that the HR department should be contacted, but only after the divorce because they still need to settle some financial issues. I have no intent to damage my dad's personal life, or try to retaliate through his work. That being said, it is probably a good idea to contact his work to let them know that some of their workers are starting a family together. My mom was planning on doing this when most of everything else was finished. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Have an awesome day or night, wherever you are.